Steph Curry is one of the greatest players to have ever stepped onto an NBA floor. Time and time again, he's come up huge on the NBA's biggest stages. His ability to shoot the three ball has changed basketball forever, and alongside with the accolades he's won over the course of his career, he cemented himself as one of the top 10 players of all time. What's absolutely crazy is that, even as a 35-year-old guard, he's still playing at an all-time high level. It's one thing to play elite-level basketball as a 35-year-old 6'9" small forward or a 35-year-old 6'11" power forward, but to play MVP-level basketball as a 6'3" guard? Sheesh, guys. I mean, when we look at the top 10 scorers in today's game, he's still the second most efficient player on the list, trailing only Giannis Antetokounmpo. Then, when we look at his overall career numbers, he's actually just as lethal today, if not more, than back in 2015 when he won his first MVP award. But yet, despite all the heroics he's displaying in the 2024 season, despite putting the team on his back once more on a nightly basis, the Warriors find themselves with more losses than wins. And instead of having that championship reputation and class that has attracted ring chasers in the past, the world is looking at the organization like they're a bunch of clowns. It's no secret at this point that Steph Curry is sick to his stomach, frustrated, and angry. The two-time MVP is now in the twilight end of his NBA career. At 35, turning 36, he has maybe 2 or 3 more years where he can play at an elite level, 2 or 3 more chances of once again reaching the pinnacle of basketball success as the best player on his team. And then after that, the window will be closed forever. Father Time has never lost. The only problem, however, is that in order to once again hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy, Steph may have to say goodbye to the people that have been around him since day one. The people he's gone to war with for his entire career. His brothers through thick and thin. That's the dilemma he's in today, and that's the difficult decision that number 30 has to make. Last season, the bane of the Warriors was their bench. The non-Steph Curry minutes was all everyone talked about, and I literally held my breath every time he went to the bench. Even with one of the greatest starting fives the NBA has ever seen, their depth just wasn't there. And as a result of that, plus some extras, they came up short. 2024, however, has been the complete opposite. The Warriors' slogan of strength in numbers has never been more true, and this might arguably be the deepest bench Steph Curry has ever played with. The only problem, however, is with their dang starters. Andrew Wiggins, outside of 4 games, has been playing like hot garbage and can't buy a bucket to save his life. Klay Thompson has been playing better as of late, but was in the biggest slump of his NBA career for a stretch of games. He was actually already offered a $48 million 2-year extension, but because of his inconsistency on the court, the reports on that are the deal is no longer on the table. Draymond Green is actually playing well when he's on the court, and therein lies the problem. He's always been finding ways to get himself off the court. I mean, out of the 15 games he's played, he's been ejected 3 times already. The first time against the Cavaliers, the second time against Minnesota, and the third time, more recently, against Phoenix. The dude is averaging 10 points, 5.5 boards, nearly 6 assists on shooting splits of 49% from the field, 43% from 3, and 83% at the free throw line, which is really good. The only drawback is he also has a 20% chance of getting ejected. How crazy is that? I don't think I've ever seen a player with a 20% chance of getting ejected. But anyway, these are 3 key players that helped the Warriors win the 2022 NBA championship. But this season, in 2024, they're just like what Jordan Poole once infamously said, which got himself sent to the Shadow Realm, and that's, "You're an expensive backpack for number 30. Honestly, if these 3 could just get a bit more consistent and play like they did in 2022, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the truth is, they aren't, and the bridge of no return is coming up. The trade deadline for 2024 is on February 8th, which gives Steph Curry another 20 or so games to evaluate the landscape of what this team is and isn't capable of. With players like Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Lauri Markkanen, and Bojan Bogdanovic on the market, the Warriors have a great chance of bolstering the roster around Steph to make them the title favorites. I mean, could you imagine a 1-to-1 swap of Klay for LaVine, a 1-to-2 trade of Draymond for Hachimura and Jackson Hayes, and another 1-to-1 swap for Lauri Markkanen for Andrew Wiggins, and perhaps a first-round pick? Size, youth, speed, all the Warriors' holes would be covered up and they'd look completely different. The truth is, however, without Steph Curry's thumbs up, without Steph Curry's okay signal, the Warriors' front office isn't doing anything. The million-dollar question is, even if these trades were available, does Steph Curry even want to pull the trigger? Wiggins, okay. He's only been a Warrior for a couple of years. Maybe Steph wouldn't mind him going onto the trading block. But Klay and Draymond? The two of them helped build this dynasty and were there from day one before Steph ever became a champion, before Steph ever became an MVP, and heck, they were there before Steph even became a star. Without them, perhaps Steph doesn't become Steph. So even if number 30 could win another championship by letting them go, would he want that? He's always been about loyalty, and I'm not sure if that's worth the price of a championship for him. It would be a different question if they had a chaotic relationship like how Kobe and Shaq did, but the three of them have probably never been closer, and both Dre and Klay have indicated they want to be Warriors for life. The good news for Steph is that there's still a bit of games before the trade deadline, and despite what the record shows, they're actually a pretty good team. One shot here, one shot there, a lucky rebound here, a lucky rebound there. And instead of being 10-14, they could easily be 14-10, and the narrative could be entirely different. This next stretch of games, however, is going to be extremely important and could either make or break this dynasty. They have an easier stretch of games coming up against non-playoff teams like the Trailblazers, Pistons, Wizards, Bulls, Grizzlies, and the Jazz. There are a few tough games mixed in, but if they could find a rhythm here and pull themselves together, win the games they should be winning, and find a way to beat some of the better teams, and along the way, if the starters could find themselves and revert back to playing all-star level basketball, then Steph Curry won't have to cross that bridge. I mean, if they could just turn the clocks back just a bit to how they were last year when they were the best starting lineup in all of basketball and keep the bench they currently have, then this is already a championship caliber team. On the other hand, if they go ahead and lose the games they should be winning and get blown out against some of the better teams, then things could get really ugly. Sheesh, guys. I don't want to think about what would happen if they go on a 10-game losing streak. Personally, I don't see them making any big trades. Personally, I see them finding their identity and going on one of them crazy runs that puts them back into that contention conversation and completely changes the narrative surrounding them. But either way, the greatest dynasty the modern NBA has ever seen is finding itself in a precarious position it's never been in before. They're in uncharted territory, but that's also the beauty of sports. History will be written, and as of now, the ball is in Curry's hands.